Welcome back to Game-Based Learning in the World Language Classroom, the why, what, and how. We are on section 3 of my book, The How. I'm Madame Sensei. I teach Spanish, French, and Japanese to high schoolers out here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. If you want to help me work on some games, the Minecraft Education Ambassadors or the Minecraft Teachers Lounge, Roxem, studio-nemo.com, or today I continue talking about the Duolingo Educators Network and all the supports you can find therein.
Duolingo. It's the best way for you to learn another language. Duolingo!
We're finishing up chapter 22 of my book, where I talk about leveraging Duolingo in the world language classroom. I may have to cut this into 2 episodes. I'm looking at the time, making sure I stay under 10 minutes, and I'm long-winded, as you know, so perhaps I will talk on. So again, in classroom time, I don't use Duolingo, per se. I don't have my students sitting behind a computer mindlessly clicking away, not talking to each other. If I'm going to have them sitting behind a computer, they're going to be communicating with each other, because I feel very strongly that class time should be application of skills. The students should be working on a project or a game. They should be communicating with each other. They should be using their language. All right, so here's an idea that I do to leverage what the students are learning in Duolingo. I go to one of the lessons, okay, and this is the old way that the lessons used to look, but the content hasn't changed, just the look has changed. I go to the lesson and I write down all the words that they're going to encounter in the lesson, and I have the students grab mini whiteboards, and I have them count off in their groups. So, okay, make groups of 3, and maybe I'll have one group that's a group of 4. And then I direct their attention to the board and I say, okay, everyone in group 1, write down one of these words. Group 2, choose one of these words. Group 3, choose one of these words. And if I have a 4th, then they're going to be and they get to choose this word also. Okay. Then I say, arrange yourselves into a sentence and make any necessary changes you need to make in your group. And then they can call me over. And I'm very clear that I don't want them talking to each other until they have made their sentence, until they've written their word down, and then they stand up and then they can talk to each other, because sometimes the sentences get really goofy and I love it. Okay. Then after I've checked them off and said, I've repeated aloud what their sentence is and we've applauded them, then I'll just say, okay, well, from now on, number 2, you choose one of those, and whoops, didn't mean to do that. Number 3, we'll put you here. We'll put number 1 there if there's a number 1. So that it mixes everyone around. And so I do that after each round. And then I do it basically until the kids are done with it. And you can tell because you're walking around and laughing with them at their goofy sentences and stuff. And it's a lot of fun. And one of my favorite times was I told the students to grab whiteboards, and they were like, oh, I love whiteboard games. And I just laughed hysterically because my whiteboard games aren't really games. They're drill and kill, but the students think that they're games. So yay, that's what I want. Right. But yeah, this is a fun one. They like it. I started talking about this the other day in the other episode, and I forgot that I had made a whole slide about it. We talk about how, hey, there's some TV show or book that you've read, and then they make it into a movie, and it's really different than what you know. Why? What happened? And so I give them a choice between like 50 million Duolingo stories, or I tell them to go look at the ones that they've read. Or sometimes I'll say, here's the theme. It's all clothing stories. Here's a bunch of clothing stories. Choose the one you like, or something like that. Tell me which one, and I print the scripts. And everybody needs at least 3 lines, so you might need to add characters, or change characters, or add lines, or change the lines. Tell me what props you need, and then start filming. So we come up with some goofy stuff there. I have a board game, And whenever things are going south, I just grab this. You'll see a lot of stuff if you watch when Duolingo came to film me. Um, Everything that I'm telling you about, they filmed. So you might see this in the background. And I thought this was really funny because I could tell that my sixth period of the day was kind of done. And I was like, oh no, the guy's still filming. What am I going to do? So I basically just pulled this out of my back pocket, plopped it on the table, grabbed a bunch of cards, plopped on the table, and the cameraman was so amazed. He was like, "This was the best game ever. Your students were so engaged," and he didn't know that I just basically made it up on the fly. Okay, but I have this board game that whenever I need to, I just grab it. It's hanging on the wall, one for each table, and I grab playing pieces and I tell them it's like Trivial Pursuit. Start wherever you want. And then you'll notice I've got different characters at different points of the board. So roll the dice, the die, just one die. And if you land on Oscar, let's see, I think I have it next. Yep. Yeah. So here, I grab some cards because remember I've got all that card stock that I've printed out. Okay, so if I'm clever, I know which ones we've been working on, right? And I'll just say, okay, Oscar's all the blue cards, and let's make Zari the green cards, and yeah, Lily's gonna get stuck with yellow today, and Falstaff is orange. Okay, so I can just randomly put that out, write it on the board, and maybe I've got purple, so I'll just write purple or whatever. And then the rules are very simple: land on a square, draw a card. You either answer the question or give the answer problem. That's beautiful that I wrote that. Answer the question, or sometimes I'll say fill in the blank, or whatever the answer to the problem is what I meant to write there, because it's a Duolingo thing, so it's whatever the blank was. And then I like it when the students police each other. That's less for me to do, even though I'm walking around eavesdropping on all of them. I can't be at all table groups at the same time. So, hey, let everyone police each other. They all want to win the game, so they're going to be mean to each other. They're going to be like, no, you said lay and it's le. They're going to be real sticklers for it, okay? And then keep the card if you get the answer right, and then it's just like whoever gets 10 cards first wins. So, let me go back here. So, you roll the dice, you go whatever direction you want. Let's say you landed here. On your next roll, you get a 1. You could choose to go to Lily and get a card, and Lily is the yellow card, but it doesn't matter. Or you could choose to go this way and get the roll again. So it's like every turn you take, you can change your mind on the next turn, because I just want them landing on the characters and getting cards. That's all I want. All right, so this Kathy Schock teaches German in Pennsylvania. She came up with this, and this was a beautiful idea. She went around her classroom and decorated bulletin boards and doors and stuff and just wrote point values on them. And she went to the dollar store and got a bunch of owl cutouts and write the students' names on them. And then the students can move their owl around the room as they get more XP. And I thought that was brilliant. And on the Duolingo Educators Network, we were talking about this. And look at all these wonderful ideas that we had floating around. This is Elizabeth Sanchez, Rebecca Durbano, Tan Hathorne Bell, who's amazing, Senora Taylor, Lynn Pape Fuller puts out her scoreboard, her leaderboard, and Caitlin Mulvey puts out their leaderboard. There's like a ton of stuff you can do. So if you want to talk about bulletin boards, tracking Duolingo XP, or leaderboards, come talk to us on the Educators Network, because everyone's got such great ideas. Shadow Avalon makes these amazing certificates, and I think a couple of these are made by a couple other people because they were impressed with what he was doing. But he's got like 800 elementary school students, and he awards them all certificates, and it's great. So those are on the Duolingo Educators Network if you're interested. He makes a big deal of it. He has a school-wide assembly and awards the top people. You can do a lesson whole class. I see I'm at 9 minutes. So I'm going to pause here and break this into 2 shorter segments. So this is 9.5 for the next one. I hope to see you there.